Stop the violence against women. Stop the violence against women in our nation. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Betty Smith. When I came here this afternoon and I began to look at the crowd, my heart started beating. I got afraid. But somehow I mustered up the energy when I think about the violence that take place in our nation today and how many lives have been lost. Something leaped deep down inside of me and I said, Lord, I can do this. And so tonight I want to say thank you for joining me. It is not always obvious that you're in an abusive relationship. It is important that you learn some of the signs to look for. It is common for someone who is being abused to believe that it's their own fault and that they somehow deserve the abuse. Can I submit to you tonight that it's important for you to know that you're never to blame for the way an abusive person treats you. When people think of domestic abuse, they often focus on the domestic violence. But can I say to you tonight that domestic abuse includes any attempt by one person in an intimate relationship or marriage to dominate and control the other person? Domestic violence and abuse is one of the leading causes of death. An abuser don't play fair. An abuser often uses fear and guilt to intimidate and to wear you down and keep you under their thumb. You may ask yourself, can domestic violence happen to me? Unfortunately, domestic violence does not discriminate. It can happen to anyone. Abuse happens within relationship and in sometimes heterosexual relationship or same-sex relationship. An abusive relationship just isn't limited to physical abuse. It can include sexual, emotional, and physical abuse. Here are some of the signs to look for. Possessiveness. The abuser, they try to control where you go and who you see. They often get furious if you don't do what they ask you to do or what they tell you to do. Jealousy is also one of the signs that abusive person shows or demonstrate. They try to isolate you from family and friends, oftentimes by behaving rudely to them. Downplay. They put you down either publicly or privately by attacking your intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, for 11 years, I stayed in an abusive marriage. I was scared for my life. I hid it from family and friends. And I prayed to the Lord daily, Lord, make it better. Help us. Help me. Whatever it is that I'm doing wrong, show me. Help me to be a better person. But if the truth be told, you cannot help someone who don't want to be helped. I oftentimes blamed myself for the abuse that my ex-husband bestowed upon me. But I caught myself one day and I realized that it was not my fault. Sometimes we have to turn the page to realize that there is more to your book of life than the page you're stuck on. Stop being afraid to move on. close this chapter of hurt and never reread it again. It's time to get what you deserve and move on from the things that don't deserve you. Don't spend your days trying to correct your past. I submit to you tonight, instead, let go and let God create something better for your future. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Betty Smith, and thank you for joining me.